Hello everyone, thank you for joining our webinar on discovering SalesForce1 Lightning. Let's wait a few more minutes before we start so that our last minute participants can log on. Good morning to everyone present here. Welcome to our webinar on discovering SalesForce1 Lightning. I am Mukta Ashok and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Before we begin, let's review a few pointers on how we can interact during the webinar. Now you're looking at the attendee interface of GoToWebinar. The viewer window on the left allows you to see everything that we'll be sharing on our screen, and the control panel at the right is how you can participate in today's event. As we would love to hear from you, so please do ask questions and share your comments. As mentioned, this option is located on the left tab. We'll be reviewing your questions as they come in and we'll take them up towards the end during the Q&A session. Also, the webinar is being recorded and everyone will receive an email with a link to view a recording of today's event. So as we move on to the webinar, I would also like to introduce you to our company, Suyati Technologies. Suyati focuses on delivering niche IT solutions and services including CMS, CRM, and e-commerce. We are an Actron featured implementation partner, Microsoft Gold partner with extensive experience in .NET, free and open source, and mobile app technologies. When it comes to Salesforce, we are an app exchange partner and offer top-notch solutions in customization, development, migration, and integration. Our team of 30+ developers, including Dev 401 certified developers, who have created around 1 million LOC, delivering pioneer out-of-the-box solutions which end up as industry benchmarks. Now I'd like to introduce you to our featured speaker, Ms. Niranja Nair. Niranja is associated with Suyati as a Salesforce practice lead. She is a Salesforce platform application development specialist and a 401 certified Salesforce developer. Her excellent grasp on Salesforce aside, Niranja also loves cartooning and enjoys reading in her spare time. Our social media tags, please do feel free to post questions, follow us, or even tag us. You can use the hashtags and handles you see on the screen. Now I'll walk you very quickly through the agenda of the day. We'll start off with the introduction to SalesForce1 Lightning, followed by Lightning empowering SalesForce1. Then Niranja would explain why Lightning has been introduced, moving on to the building blocks of Lightning, and finally conclude with the tips to quickly get a Lightning app ready. Now I'd like to pass it on over to Niranja.
Thank you, Mukta. That was a really kind introduction from you. And hello everyone, again I am Niranja, and today I'll take you all with me to dig a bit deeper into SalesForce1 Lightning. So let me take you to Dreamforce first. So just after Salesforce launched Lightning in Dreamforce this year, it has been in limelight since. People are already excited about it and want to know as much as possible about Lightning. So we decided, why not we throw some light on Lightning so that all of you can know about it. So first, let me get you to the inspiration behind Lightning. As we see the technological world is moving, people prefer carrying their businesses in their pockets. We have powerful smartphones, iPads, and tabs, which makes handling business more efficient and comfortable. Now the present scenario has a huge demand for mobile applications. Just if we focus on the SalesForce1 platform, around 89% of Salesforce customers are using SalesForce1 mobile application, and 49% are planning to get a custom app built by 2015. With more than 4 million applications and 1.8 million developers, the SalesForce1 platform is the trusted and proven platform for innovative companies around the world. Now this fact shows what's the mobile impact, and especially the mobile impact among Salesforce audiences. But the Salesforce as an organization realized that just building mobile apps was not enough. There was a factor that was even more important than just building mobile apps, and that is to get your mobile app delivered to market faster and on time. Now, this realization of getting mobile apps developed faster was what the inspiration which led them to Lightning technology. If you pay attention to the term Lightning, that itself shows that it's a next version of SalesForce1 platform. Now, when we say the next generation of SalesForce1 platform, generally there's a confusion all around about what SalesForce1 is and what Lightning is. So let me help you sort out this confusion. SalesForce1 is the platform and Lightning is the layer on top of it. So Lightning needs SalesForce1 platform to demonstrate its power. So if you want a Lightning mobile application to be running on your mobile device, you need first the SalesForce1 application installed in your mobile device, and then you can get your Lightning application into the SalesForce1 mobile. Now, when we focus on the term Lightning, it itself emphasizes on the number of cool tools it provides, which are going to help us boost the speed of mobile app development phenomenally. It comes with a component framework and cool set of tools which can be used by both the admins and developers so that you can build responsive applications for any screen size. So Lightning focuses on empowering both the admins and the developers, that is both the technical and the non-technical Salesforce users. Another key area that Lightning is going to help its customers with is reusability. Now, the component once developed can be used by multiple users for multiple applications. On top of this, Salesforce is also providing their components for the users so that all can leverage and make the most of the standard available components. So if we imagine the standard Salesforce components which have already proved how successful and how beneficial and how efficient they are, we can use those components to get our custom applications built on mobile phones. Now, another key area that Lightning is going to help its customers, as we talk about, was reusability and an improved performance. Lightning also touches on one of the biggest pain points in mobile app development, and that is to build applications that would scale through different devices and maintain a uniform design. So these were the few highlights of Lightning, and I guess this gives a brief idea about what Lightning will do for you. Let's take a look on how has it empowered the SalesForce1 platform. So if we look into the prior scenario before Lightning was launched and to SalesForce1, the normal procedure was that the admins communicate their business needs for the mobile applications to the developers. So they prepare a set of requirements because it's the admins or the non-technical people who understand the business needs. They know what their customers need. They know what their organizations need. So they get their requirements ready and then they take this to the developers. The developers would design the entire application, the alignment of the components and everything. So it was the developer who designed the app's look for different devices. Admins, when you take a point of view from the admins, they were completely dependent on the developers because the actual app was designed by the developers. This was a scenario before Lightning. Now when we come into Lightning empowers the admins. It gives them more control. The Lightning App Builder, which is one of the blocks introduced with Lightning technology, it gives the admins, or if you say the non-technical people, the control to determine how the app should look for different devices. They can drag and drop the components to the UI and determine the look of the app for different devices. Now this idea, this implementation reduces the time gap and helps getting business-ready apps delivered faster into the market before its actual need drains off. When we again take a look into SalesForce1, for any custom customizations, the developers had to design the complete page. When we look into Lightning, on the contrary, it provides Salesforce standard components which the developers can leverage, extend, and use according to their requirements. Not just the standard components, but the developers can also use the custom components and the existing custom components from AppExchange or which were built by some other developers and leverage it according to their use. Now this helps getting components designed faster and also to maintain a uniformity among the Lightning apps that are built around the world. If we take a look into the IDC white paper survey which was sponsored by Salesforce, they reported a 70% decrease in the time required for bringing an application to market when developed with SalesForce1 Lightning. So this is the SalesForce1 Lightning impact. And I hope now we know how Lightning helps SalesForce1 to be faster. But if we again take a look into it, Lightning not just focuses on making SalesForce1 faster, but it also focuses on improving the performance of an application in SalesForce1. Now, Salesforce as an organization realized that along with the mobile app delivery, another important factor was the performance of a mobile application in the SalesForce1 platform. And two of these important needs, that is a faster mobile app delivery and a better performance mobile app, led them to the evolution of Lightning. That was the actual need of Lightning. When we speak about the performance of Salesforce1 prior to Lightning and after Lightning, one major factor that affected the performance of Lightning one major factor that affected the important Salesforce1 application before Lightning was Visualforce pages. Visualforce pages were used earlier in Salesforce1 for showing your custom mobile applications. And when we look into Visualforce pages, they were developed keeping the web in mind. And so using them in mobiles had some performance issues. That is why they came up with Lightning components, which were built especially for mobiles. Now the major reason that affected Visualforce performance on mobiles was view state. What is view state? It is just an encrypted hidden field that the Visualforce maintains. It is used to store the state of your component, of your fields, and the controller. And what happens with view state is for every client and server communication, the view state is communicated to and fro. So Visualforce pages, for every communication with the server, this view state was traveling from client to server, back from server to client, and this utilizes a fair amount of bandwidth. Now when we look into mobile devices, they are not equipped enough to handle this overload on the bandwidth. On the contrary, when we come into Lightning components, they come with an advantage in this scenario, whereas they introduce an architecture with stateful client and stateless server architecture. Lightning focuses on making the most of client devices potential. If you see into its architecture, it functions with JavaScript on the client side, and which is used to manage the UI component metadata and the application data. Whereas on the server side, it makes use of Apex. And another major attraction point is that the client and server only communicates to get the data, and that too in JSON format. Now this architecture drastically improves the performance in SalesForce1 application. When we talk about Visualforce experience in SalesForce1, there were many considerations we had to follow. For example, we were suggested to not use the Apex form tag, and that means we could not use the Apex input field tags, and it was recommended to not use many other tags like Apex page blogs and all. So in that scenario, what we had to do was to replace this Visualforce tags with HTML components and use some custom CSS. Now this scenario itself speaks that Visualforce was not suitable for mobiles. On the contrary, when you look into Lightning, it comprises of JavaScript, which works as a controller and helper for the client. It makes use of HTML for the components on the page. It makes use of CSS for the styling. And it makes use of Apex at the server side to get the data. Now these differences help us understand the importance of lightning. And I hope we all have a basic idea about what lightning and all the wonders it does. So let's go through the basic blocks or the set of tools under the name of lightning which makes this technology this powerful. So if we see the basic blocks of lightning, it includes lightning schema builder, lightning process builder, lightning components, lightning app builder, lightning connect, and lightning extension. So let's take a look into each of these in detail so that we know more about lightning. So what comes first is lightning schema builder. So let me tell you first that it is nothing but just a rebrand of the schema builder which was already available. It provides a very easy interface to design your schema. Now before schema builder, if you remember in Salesforce, before the schema builder was introduced, we had to do a lot many clicks and navigations to create the object, to create fields and establish relationships between them. There were a lot of clicks and navigations, a lot of manual work. So a lot of time was involved to just get your schema done in Salesforce. Now with schema builder, it comes with an added advantage. It makes everything very convenient to understand visually. We get a whole snapshot of how your schema is related with each other. You just have to drag and drop, and with just this point and click you can create objects, you can create fields, and you can create map relationships between them, and all with just one UI. Now this makes the whole scenario very, very convenient. If you see the image on this slide, it shows a basic idea of the UI that schema builder provides about how you can drag and drop the objects and fields and map their relationships between them in the work area. So this was about lightning schema builder. Next we have is lightning process builder. Again, lightning process builder is a rebrand of workflows which were already present in Salesforce. But what process builder does, it just comes with the existing power of workflow and with some added advantages. First of all, we get a visual point and click UI with process builder. It gives us a better understanding of the process which we are building, since we can relate it to a workflow, or since we can relate it to a flow chart look. So whenever a business need arises and you want to implement it on your CRM or any software system, you first end up drawing a flow chart for it. So now with process builder, you can do a similar thing. You can build a flow chart, and at the back end, your actual process is being built in the Salesforce. You don't have to do anything else, just build a flow chart and select the actions that you have to do. So it's that simple with process builder. Now this was not possible with workflows. Through process builder, we can easily combine the requirement which would require otherwise multiple workflow rules. Process builder comes with more powerful actions than workflows. If we compare with workflows, earlier in workflows, the actions that were available were creating a task, performing a field update of the actual parent record, sending an outbound message, and sending an email alerts. So these are the actions that workflows provide. Now when we compare it with Lightning Process Builder, they have more powerful and additional actions. Like you can create a record, you can update a field, but not just the parent field, but you can also update the related records field. You can make a post to Chatter, you can submit a record for approval. So these are the more powerful and additional actions which were introduced by Process Builder, and these actions were introduced keeping the mobile perspective in mind. And one exceptional case with Process Builder which we should remember is that it does not support sending outbound messages. So if your business still needs you to send outbound messages, you will have to stick through workflows. But even without sending the outbound messages, the powerful actions that Process Builder provides reduces the otherwise effort needed for writing code or a trigger. It empowers even the non-technical people to implement few business needs, and that too with 0% of code. If I explain with an example, suppose you have a business requirement where there is a lead and we have a lead source pick list, and based on different pick list values of the lead source, you have to perform different actions. So before the introduction of Lightning Process Builder, what you guys would have done would be either write an Apex code, or you would have written different workflow rules for handling different pick list values and the related actions. But with Process Builder, you don't have to write multiple workflows, you don't have to write lines of code. All you have to do is just create a flowchart provided by the UI of Salesforce, and your process will be built in Salesforce. So that is how Process Builder makes it easy to implement business needs. Next, let's take a look into Lightning Components. Now, if we talk about Lightning Components, it's the actual core of the Lightning technology. It is the rebrand of Aura Framework, which was developed by Salesforce. I'll be covering Aura Framework in our next slide. Now, Lightning Components, what are it? These are the reusable sections of your UI, or you can say a set of elements which can be reused in your UI. For example, charts, lists, or search. Such UI parts can be built as components, which can be distributed and reused by a variety of users for serving different business requirements. So if we try to explain it with an example, suppose your organization have a business need where they need a mobile application for the salespeople so that they can see the locations of their leads in a map. And you have another requirement that you want a mobile application for the marketing people where they need to see the locations of their campaigns in the map. So the reusable UI section in this part would be the maps, which can be built as a Lightning component, and it can be reused for different requirements of your mobile applications. So that is what Lightning component is, a reusable section of your UI. Now when we speak about components, they make use of JavaScript, CSS, or any web-enabled code on client side and Apex on server side. So when we talk from an admin point of view, who want to get the business ready apps published faster, they get a whole variety of readily available components which they can select and create their applications within no time. And when we talk from a developer point of view, or from the point of view of a technical person, they don't have to build everything from scratch now. They can leverage or extend the readily available components, customize it according to their requirement, and use them. Now, all the action calls from the Lightning components are asynchronous and they run in batches. As a result, we get reduced network traffic. The actual idea behind Lightning components is to batch up the related request and execute the actions in chain instead of sending separate requests for individual actions. Now, as a conclusion for all this architecture that Lightning component builds, we get apps that have a better performance in Salesforce1 mobile application. Today, more than 25 Salesforce partners are already building new Lightning components such as list views, keypads, case layouts, influencer charts, and maps with real-time data, and they are making them available on Salesforce App Exchange. This shows how important Lightning component is and how promising its future is. If we take a look into the framework behind Lightning, that is Aura, just so that all of you get an idea about the capability of this framework, let me tell you, the Chatter, Site.com component framework, and SalesForce1 platform in itself is built over Aura framework. Now these technologies have already proved how successful they are and how acceptable they are by the Salesforce audiences. And this proves how strong this UI framework is. The main highlight about Aura is that it is an open source and it is not just restricted for force.com domain. It can be used for developing dynamic web applications for mobiles and desktops. This framework also takes care about making efficient use of your server, browser, devices, and network, so that your developers don't have to worry about it. Your developers can focus on the logic and features of their expected applications. Aura also comes with a rich set of available components which can be extended and used. Some other advantages of this framework includes event-driven architecture, object-oriented programming behavior, and it is designed basically for mobiles. If anyone of you is interested on digging your hands and experimenting with Aura, it is available on GitHub, so you can just download it and use it. So that was about Aura. Next we have is Lightning App Builder. Now App Builder provides you a very powerful UI where the admins or the non-technical people can just drag and drop the required components and create a fully functional app, that too within no time. The major attraction of App Builder is how it empowers the non-technical people to create business-ready apps delivered faster than ever. They can select the components from different mediums and design an app that looks exactly like they want, or more precisely that exactly meets their business needs. No more wasting time on dependency on the developers. If you see the screen, you can see the UI where the admins can drag and drop the components to the work area, and they can decide the different look for different devices. They can decide how the app is going to look for mobiles, they can decide how it is going to look for the tabs, they can decide how it is going to look for wearable devices. So they get more understanding about how the app is going to look in different devices. They can select the components that are provided from Salesforce, or they can select from App Exchange, or also get the custom components that have been designed by their developers. In short, App Builder provides you a bundle of components which you can select and get your application ready. It also opens up a completely new way about how developers and admins will work in future. Admins can create applications as they need by just pointing and clicking, whereas developers can focus on creating components that will be required for various business needs and focus on its performance, scalability, look and feel, and such important aspects. That was about Lightning App Builder. Next we have Lightning Connect. Lightning Connect is again a rebrand of external objects. Through Lightning Connect, external objects will now be available in your mobile devices. With Lightning Connect, what you get is a read-only section within your Salesforce, and this read-only section shows the data that is present in some external system. We can connect to any external system which has an OData connector, that is an open data protocol, which is a RESTful data access protocol. And these data access protocols, for example, are used by companies like Microsoft Azure, SAP, so it's a reliable data access protocol. Now the data present in the external system can be shown within Salesforce using Lightning Connect in sections like your reports, your dashboards, codes, or user interfaces, without even the need of storing them in Salesforce. So you're saving a lot of money for the data storage in Salesforce using Lightning Connect. External objects introduces a completely new class of objects, and their API names do not end with __c, rather they end with __x. So if we see the other custom objects that Salesforce provides, the data is saved in Salesforce. Whereas with external objects, the data is not saved in Salesforce, it is just accessed real time. Now the attraction of this feature is that you get a seamless integration with external system, which provides you a real-time data displayed within your Salesforce, and that too without the need of an extra data storage or even writing a single line of code for integrating with the system. Now, but with all these attractions, one thing that we have to remember is that this is only a one-way connection, and if we require to push data to external system from Salesforce, we will still need an integration code. So that was about Lightning Connect. Next, another important building block is Lightning Extension. Lightning Extension will give you the power to replace and extend the default SalesForce1 mobile app UI. With Lightning Extension, you will be able to either override or extend the sections of standard UI available within SalesForce1. An example would be if your organization needs to include a new tab slide to the record view provided by SalesForce1, or you want to change the look of the record view or the related list in the native UI, you can use Lightning Extension. In short, we can say that Lightning Extension helps us replace Salesforce standard UI with custom components. We are not sure about the level of control this will give to its users, but we can really hope that this will give us the control needed to completely rebrand the SalesForce1 application as per our organization's design. At present, Lightning extension is in pilot for Winter 15, but if you really want to try your hands on it, you can contact Salesforce support to register for the pilot program. Next, let's take a look into some tips about how you can get the Lightning app ready as soon as the basic blocks of Lightning are available in GA. So let me explain this to you with the help of a scenario. Suppose your organization have a Salesforce application already published in AppExchange, and seeing the growth of mobile, your organization finds the need of having a mobile version of your application. Now, if it was a situation prior to SalesForce1 Lightning, what would be the approach that you would have taken was to update your Visualforce pages to make it responsive, make some CSS styling changes and make it available in SalesForce1, and your users could have started using the application in mobile. But since the introduction of Lightning, things have changed. We know the advantages that Lightning provides in terms of performances, and it is hard to resist. So, but can you get started with Lightning mobile application at present? We have few hurdles at this question because Lightning components are still in beta. Though we can make use of this beta feature and create components to developer console and get it available in SalesForce1, but we won't be able to use the complete package that Lightning provides because even Lightning App Builder is in pilot now. So what is the best approach that we can take by the time all the Lightning components, basic blocks are available in GA? So few steps that we can do so that it will help us as an easy migration to Lightning mobile application is we can start with modifying our Visualforce pages so that we replace the the Visualforce tags to HTML5 components and do the styling using CSS. We can make use of some JavaScript libraries like AngularJS or Backbone.js to get an MVC designed. We can modify the Apex side of our code so that it handles the client request using JavaScript remoting methods, and the data exchange between the client and server can take place in JSON format. So if we get a mobile application ready at present with these changes, once the Lightning is available in GA, what we can do is we can have an easy migration from the existing mobile application to the Lightning mobile application. And we can have an organization which will be among the first people to publish a Lightning mobile application. So these are few of the tips that you can use to get the Lightning mobile application converted as soon as possible with these prerequisites. So these are few tips which will help you to be prepared for Lightning. And I hope the tips and the basic idea about Lightning has helped you to solve your questions and confusions about Lightning. And that would be it for today's webinar about discovering Lightning. Thank you all for being a part of the webinar.
Thank you, Niranja, and it was a pleasure to have you on board, and thank you for such a wonderful and informative session. So folks, now we are ready to address your questions. Feel free to type your questions using the question feature on GoToWebinar. Now I would read them out and Niranja would answer it for you. So we have the first question. Okay, the first question for the day is, what are the additions with Lightning Schema Builder?
Okay, so as I said, Lightning Schema Builder is just a rebrand of the existing Schema Builder. There are no new features that have been introduced with the latest release. It is just has been launched with a new name, no additional features included into the Schema Builder.
Okay, we have another question. What can we do to start using Lightning App Builder?
Lightning App Builder is in pilot right now, and still you can get it activated in your organization. You just have to log a case with your Salesforce support, and they will ask you to sign an NDA. And once you get the procedures completed, they will activate Lightning App Builder to your organization.
Okay, we have a question from Ted which says, will existing workflows have to be written in Lightning?
That is a good question, Ted. Existing workflows does not have to be rewritten in Lightning. Workflows will still continue to exist. Process Builder just produces a new approach of getting the workflows. So if there is a requirement where you have to combine multiple workflows, or if you can make use of additional actions, you can make it through Lightning Process Builder.
Okay, moving on to our next question. How is the performance using JavaScript promoting?
JavaScript promoting performance, let's compare it with the Visualforce standard actions. So as I explained, Visualforce standard actions communicates with the server using view state. So view state is transferred to and fro with client and server. So there's a lot of overload on the bandwidth, and the performance decreases especially when it comes to a mobile device. Whereas as opposed to JavaScript promoting, it's an AJAX call to the server, just the data is communicated in the client-server communication, and that too in JSON format. So it improves the performance drastically.
Okay, we have a question from Lavin. Does Lightning client uses JavaScript and server uses Apex? Mean you need to write a component twice?
Okay, Levin, about writing the component twice, no, because let's take a look into the current scenario. When there's a requirement, what you do is you write a bit of a code in Visualforce and you write a bit of code in Apex. So the Apex part remains the same, which can be implemented using JavaScript promoting methods to just communicate the data. And the part you write in Visualforce can be utilized and can be converted to write a Lightning component, where it can be divided with CSS styling. You can write your logic of rendering the data and some controller logics in JavaScript. So you don't have to write the component twice.
Okay, we have few doubts about if the presentation is being recorded. Yes, the presentation is being recorded, and we will be sending out a link to you where you can view the webinar and the presentation. Okay, we have our next question. Okay, I think this question is relating to Aura, which says the open source with which license? And
yeah, so Aura is an open source, it's available in GitHub. It is a sort of a framework, a JavaScript framework, which you can use. So you don't need a license to make use of Aura. It is open source from GitHub. You can download it and start using it.
Okay. The participant has also asked for the link. We would be mailing you the link to the open source. Okay, we have our next question. Lightning is more client-side, but does Lightning work online through a browser for a web-appropriate experience?
Yeah, Levin. Yes, Lightning is more client-side. So even if you see the Lightning component that is available in beta right now in Salesforce, you can definitely view it through a browser. But the recommended approach for Lightning is that it has been basically designed for mobile devices. So Lightning would be recommended to be used with mobile devices. But yes, it is available for web, but it's not appropriate experience.
Okay, so thank you folks. Thank you Niranja. I think this is all the time we had. Please look up for a follow-up mail that will alert you on the on-demand status of the webinar so that you can review any material you missed or you could simply go over again. And any more questions will be taken offline. And finally, a small request, we would like each of you to remain with us and complete our 4-question exit survey. Any further queries will be taken offline. Reach us at our social media, or you can simply mail us at webinar@suyati.com. So that brings us to the end of our webinar. On behalf of Niranja and the team at Suyati, thanking you all for joining us and taking time to attend our webinar. Have a great day.